falar com a Rosana? É o Joelson. Ah, esse é o Joelson. Tá. Você não conhecia ele, não? Não. Só em reunião. Eu sabia que eu conhecia, mas não tinha certeza.
Gabriel.
Ok.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
20. 10 seconds. 5. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon again. I spoke first out of the microphone for people who are blind and are here, know where I am, to know where I am. It is a measure of accessible communication, and it doesn't cost anything. It is only a matter of changing mind and changing habit. My name is Cláudia Werneck. I am a Brazilian human rights activist, journalist, and writer. It's a great pleasure to be here again. I have been participating of the Zero Project Conference since 2014, and I consider it is the most relevant international event on inclusion and accessibility. About accessible communication, I have another point. As this chat does not offer an official professional audio description, I will do my own self-description, although I know it does not replace the professional one. Well, I am an older and white woman with gray hair and wearing glasses. And I have here to my left Alan and to my right Gabriel. In 2002, I founded the NGO School of People, Communication and Inclusion. Our mission is to transform public policies and inclusive public policies in order to guarantee human rights to people with disability that live mainly in poverty. And in Brazil, it means a population composed mainly for black people, so offering accessibility is also fighting racism. We are a school of people because we do not admit any kind of discrimination due to inequalities and differences, any kind of inequalities and differences. Over the last 23 years, we have created many important strategies to help societies to become inclusive. Some of them were awarded here in the Zero Project Conference. One of them is VEM CA, and VEM CA will be presented by Gabriel and Alan now, with a new tool. Thank you. Alan, please, can you present yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi everyone. This is like my first time here at the conference. I'm super happy to be here, especially sharing the session with my two incredible bosses. I am a white man with black hair, scraggly black beard, and brown eyes, and I am the content coordinator for School of People, and part of the team that's been developing this new tool that we're going to talk about today. Gabriel? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, that's unfortunate.
Thank you. Yes. First of all, I'm glad to be here for another year. My name is Gabriel Ligabui. I'm an older white man. I have beard and gray hair, and I wear glasses. Okay, I'm the director of planning at School of People, and I'm involved in different projects of our organization, including the VEM CA app and the new tool, what we talk about today, Claudia.
Thank you. I'll let you start. What is VEM CA? What is the app VEM CA?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's going to be a challenge keeping it short, the answer, but I'll do my best. So it's a free and broadly accessible content, knowledge, and culture app that we developed in and launched in 2019. Since then, it got a lot of positive results. We got over 20,000 downloads and awarded, even here in the Zero project, the app has a long history here. What we like to highlight is that in 2021, it was part of the Cutting Edge Technologies documentary that was shown here, representing Brazil there. And in 2022, it was one of the winners of the Zero Project Award in the ICT category. We also got acknowledged by the UN, the app got acknowledged by the UN as one of the 400 best practices that moves the world towards the fulfillment of the Social Development Goals, the SDGs. And yeah, you might have noticed that just a quick intermission, you might have noticed that I said that the app is broadly accessible. And that's because as technology evolves, often accessibility lags behind a bit. And as such, we want to do things with the app that we simply can't yet, because there are no accessibility solutions to do what we need to do to make it fully accessible. So when I say broadly accessible, I mean that it is as accessible as it can possibly be currently. But thankfully, strides are always being made, so improvements are always being done to the app in that front. So if you hear any one of us three say broadly accessible, that's why. It is as accessible as it can currently be for us. VEM CA was created back in 2019. Just a quick history overview. It was created in 2019, but the history starts a lot earlier, because we actually had a lot of incidents in public policies in Brazil, especially in the culture area, which is one of our main action areas. And thanks to said incidents, cultural producers would often started having more initiative to add accessibility to their events. But the thing is, they would say, for example, you have a theater presentation, right? A theater season. You're producing a play. And it runs for a month in the same place 3 times a week, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. What producers would often end up doing that we noticed is that they would add accessibility to a single day of the entire month, like Thursday, for example, and they wouldn't publicize it either. So what would happen is the day of the play, they would be desperate because they haven't gotten any confirmation from persons with disabilities, and they would judge that, hey, I'm wasting money since nobody's going to use this accessibility, which is an erroneous notion, by the way. Everything has to have accessibility, whether or not there's someone using it. So they would reach out to us and they'd be like, hey, School of People, can you bring a bunch of persons with disabilities so I can justify my investment? And we'd be like, well, that's really not how this works. So we created VEM CA to kind of bridge the gap, because everyone should be able to choose when they go and where they go to cultural events, and that wasn't really happening with the situation that I described. So this sort of breaks the cycle, right? Because VEM CA bridges the gap. It connects those who produce accessible content to those who need or want accessible content. So say any day of the week you want to go somewhere, you can open the app and you can look for whatever is happening that has accessibility around your area, and you can choose from there. That's what the app was originally created to do. However, back then in 2019, it was only like in-person events and cultural events. But then COVID hit, and everything changed. And we realized that the app had a much bigger social responsibility. So we ended up relaunching the app with an online mode for like online events, online cultural events, etc. And not only just cultural events, but also well, all other types of knowledge, really. Speeches, workshops, etc. And that's how it works to this day, except with even more functionalities that we ended up adding over the years. Most recently, the biggest change was that we became a part of the Live Without Limits plan in the Brazilian government, which is the biggest action plan for persons with disabilities and their families to participate in economical, social, cultural, and etc. lives. And VEM CA is going to be the platform, a broadly accessible platform in which the policies from this plan can be accessed. So yeah, honestly, I could keep talking about the app, but as I said, this was me trying to keep it brief, and we've talked about it like multiple times here before. The focus is the new functionality, which is the self-assessment for for companies and organizations to see their inclusion and accessibility and diversity levels. So that's what the focus here is going to be today. Does that answer your question, Claudia?
Yes, of course, Alan. Thank you. And Gabriel, what is the inspiration? What is the inspiration that is behind the new tool of app VEM CA, please?
Okay. Well, Claudia, similar to what happened with VEM CA, this tool was created based on external demands, okay? In this case, from the organization that want to become more inclusive and don't know how to do that or how to, where start this process, okay? Then we thinking about that, we decided to create a tool to solve this issue, okay?
Thank you, Gabriel. And Alan, please, to whom is the tool directed?
Yes, also a very important question. So the tool for now is directed towards companies and organizations with over 100 employees. And I'll explain why. There's basically two main reasons for that. The first one is that the corporate environment changes a lot when you're dealing with a company or an organization that has, say, 5 to 10 employees when compared to one that has over 100. So, for example, a marketing department, right? That's one of the criteria we evaluate in the tool. If you have, like most of, or a lot of the companies with over 100 employees that we've looked at, they all have a marketing department or a team dedicated to this activity, while 5, 10 employees often didn't have anything related to marketing. So that's what I mean. Like, the corporate environment changes a lot. A lot of things that are present in bigger companies aren't present when you have a lot less employees. And that changes the questions you can ask. That changes everything that you can evaluate. So that's one of the reasons. But another one is the law aspect of things. Because in Brazilian law, at least, a lot of the legislation actually relates and there's specific things for companies with over 100 employees. So, for example, if you have over 100 employees, you must have a certain percentage of those as persons that have disabilities. And that's not an obligation for companies with less than 100 employees. So that's an important question to ask. Like, are you following do you have that quota? Like, do you follow that law as it should? And if it's not like, it's still an important question for companies with less than 100 employees, but if it's not an obligation, we can't just deduct like the same amount of points per se. The question changes. So that's what I mean. However, even though we are releasing this now for companies with over 100 employees, we are working on a version that will be released a bit later for companies with less than 100 employees. It's just going to have different, few key differences. So that's why it's not, but for now we're focused on making the version for companies with over 100 employees the best that it can possibly be. So yeah, to directly answer your question, Claudia, the tool is for now directed at companies with a minimum of 100 employees, but that soon won't be just the case.
Okay, thank you. And how does it work?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. So how does the functionality work? Well, it takes 23 years of School of People's knowledge, and it condenses it into 24 multiple-choice questions. These questions can be, the tool itself can be accessed free of charge via both the app, that's why we were talking about VEM CA, or a web page that we are still going to release alongside the tool. And can anyone in the company answer the question, the questionnaire? Yes. However, we do not recommend. We recommend for persons that have like a deeper understanding of the company to answer the questionnaire. This is because the questionnaire is very, it goes through all the areas of the company. So it's better, like if you don't know anything that's like going on in other areas than your own, then you're going to have to look for a lot of information, and that might be tricky. So for example, an HR professional might know more about all the other areas. A manager, if they don't know what's going on outside of their area, it's much easier for them to reach out to other managers and get the information they need. So yeah, usually you'd want someone that has a deeper knowledge of the company and how it operates to answer the questionnaire. But what is the questionnaire? 24 questions, like I said. Each one has 1 to 3 answers, which give a score from 1 to 3. Shocking, I know. And you might be thinking, well, that means the final score that you get, per se, is all of the score from the answers combined. And, well, you'd be right, but at the same time, not really, because it's an equation, and there's another part to the equation. The parts of the equation that's missing are the criteria. We also, like, these 24 questions are divided amongst 8 different criteria. These criteria cover all the areas that we believe are needed to, well, be covered in order for an organization to be diverse, inclusive, accessible. And these 24 questions are divided amongst them, so 3 questions per each one of the 8 criteria. And each criteria has a different weight value, and that's what changes the equation. So the final result is the weight value and the answers that you give. And what are these weight values? Why do the criteria have different weight values? Does that mean that criteria have different importances? No. Not really. But let me give you an example. I think that should make things a bit easier. We have one criteria that's planning and budgeting, right? Because you can't have an inclusive and accessible and diverse organization if you don't plan for it, if you don't budget for it. If you don't separate the money ahead of time, then you won't have the resources to make everything that you need to make happen. Another criterion that we work with is marketing, because that's also important. You need to send the right message. You need to make sure the message that you're sending out is inclusive, accessible, diverse, etc. However, does that mean that the planning has a weight of 4 out of 5, while the marketing has a weight of 2 out of 5 in this tool? Does that mean marketing is not important and you can just ignore it? No. No, not at all. But it has less impact on the other criteria. So, like I said, if you don't plan, if you don't budget, you're not going to be able to get any of the other criteria done as they should. However, the marketing, it does have some influence, but it's not as structural as planning and budgeting. So that's what the weight values actually represent. Another criterion that we use is is internal communication. And that's because accessible, diverse, and inclusive communication is absolutely vital for persons with and without disabilities to be able to actually perform and, just grow in their jobs. Not only that, but you need inclusive communication if you're going to listen to people's concerns and actually use it to improve your company, your organization. So that's why it also has a weight value of 4 out of 5. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Claudia.
Yes, thank you, Alan. And could you please give an example of a question?
Yes, sure. That's actually going to help a lot. Good call. So for this one, let me introduce another one of the 8 criterion. It's company policies. Because this is also a 4 out of 5, because if you don't have inclusive company policies accessible, like if company policies don't reflect these values, then you're not going to be able to actually have any of the other areas of the company implementing or actually following and embracing these values. So the company policies must reflect them, and that's why they are a 4 out of 5 value, weight value, rather. So to give the example that I need to give, the question that she asked me to say, I'll actually need to read this because, like I said, we spent months trying to condense our 23 years of knowledge into these specific questions. So the questions are key, and I don't want to change any wording by accident. So I'm going to read the actual example. So within this criterion, we have 3 questions, like I said, for all the criterion. One question relates to the existence of policies, another is to the implementation of policies, and another is to the monitoring and assessment of these policies. So basically, we ask if the policies exist, we ask if they are implemented, and we ask if they are being monitored for their effectiveness, changes, etc. The question that I'm going to present here, the answers, is related to the question of the existence of policies. So when you get to the question, do the policies exist? That's not, the 3 possible answers will be, 1, there are no formal company policies that seek to ensure non-discrimination and equal opportunities for persons from different origins, genders, sexual orientation, race, age, or disabilities within the organization. This answer gives 1 point because it shows that the company has yet to start on the path to make inclusive policies. The second answer would be, there are formal company policies that seek to ensure non-discrimination and equal opportunities for persons from different origins, genders, sexual orientation, race, age, or disabilities within the organization. These policies are not obligatory to be followed, but it is recommended that all the areas do so. This answer gives 2 points, as it shows the company is on the right track, but not quite there yet, as following inclusive policies needs to be mandatory for all the areas. And as such, the third option for answer would be, there are formal company policies that seek to ensure non-discrimination and equal opportunities for persons from different origins, genders, sexual orientation, race, age, or disabilities within the organization, and these policies must be followed by all the areas of the company. This answer gives 3 points, as it indicates that within the specific subject of existing inclusive policies, the organization is in the ideal position. That is, the policies exist and following them is mandatory. So, yeah, I'm no longer reading. As you can see, this is a quick and easy, well, easy depends on who's answering, but it's a quick question. But that's what I mean by the right person should really, like someone with deeper knowledge of the company should answer, because they are more likely to have this knowledge already instead of having to call someone and check about the policies. So yeah, anyway, Claudia, that's one example of a question.
Well, thank you, Alan. And why will the organizations be mobilized to answer the questionnaire?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm here talking a lot about the questionnaire, but I haven't told you why you should worry about this. Well, if you're here in Zero Project, you probably know why you should worry about this. But what do you get when you actually finish? Well, you get a report with like a spider graph. And I really like the spider graph. It's very neat. If you guys end up doing that, you're gonna like the graph as well. And like the spider graph shows which like the score, the final score for each criterion that was evaluated. And there's also like an explanation of the criterion, and there will be also a little snippet of text in which we say like, hey, this is the general assessment of how like this is how we think you did in this test. And why do you want this, right? Well, it's a snapshot of your current moment in the company. It's a snapshot of how the company is doing in terms of inclusion, diversity, and accessibility. And that's very valuable because we notice, or has the potential to be very valuable anyway, because we notice that a lot of companies, they want to be more diverse, they want to be more inclusive, they want to be more accessible, but they have no idea where to start with because they often don't even know like what they are lacking, what they are not lacking, because they are not inserted in this field. And that's the first step, right? If you want to improve, you need to know what you need to improve with or in. And this is what the report provides. It provides an answer to this first and often most difficult step. With it, you're going to have an idea of where your company needs to improve the most, and then you can just start there. That's the starting point, and from any starting point, we can get, I don't know, anywhere, to a fully inclusive company. So yeah, this is free information, no strings attached. You can download the report. You can use the report however you want. And we even recommend that you retake the assessment periodically so that you can evaluate how you're improving in your company. Back to you, Claudia.
Thank you, Alan. Gabriel, when the new tool will be ready, please?
Oh, Claudia, very soon, Claudia. The new version of VEM CA is coming with this new tool. It will be available in the next quarter, okay? In the near future, we plan to offer this tool to small companies, small organization, okay? And as well.
Thank you. Well, we are getting close to the end, and I would like to ask if you, Alan, and you, Gabriel, have something new, any last information to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some of you might be tired of hearing me already because, but I do have a lot to share. So I'm just glad that I have a nice voice. No, just kidding. Yeah, the first thing I want to say is that this is this tool can be combined with like other functionalities within VEM CA to make the app a truly an inclusive a hub, I guess, for inclusive work. Now, what does that mean? I think this is easier for me to explain with examples because it involves other functionalities that I haven't talked about yet. And yeah, so examples. Basically, suppose you finish your self-assessment of the company and you found out that, hey, I need to include accessibility in all of my work events. I need accessibility in my workplace. But how do I find accessibility professionals to perform these services? Well, VEM CA has a database for accessibility professionals that you can use to find precisely that. So you can go there, you can put in your city, and you can find audio description, you can find sign language interpreter. There's a whole list of professionals you can find that should help mitigate the thing that you saw that you need to improve. So that's one thing. But then suppose you take the self-assessment and you find that your company needs to be more diverse, that you're lacking diversity, lacking in inclusion, etc. Well, you can, soon there will also be a functionality that you can post your job openings to the app. And that will naturally reach a more diverse audience, the users of VEM CA. And not only that, but there's also specific questions about the job openings related to accessibility. So for example, we ask you to detail what accessibility measures you're going to offer in your selective process, in your interview process. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say a hub for inclusive work. Because there are, with this functionality and the other ones that I mentioned, there are a lot of tools for you to really make your company and your organization more inclusive, accessible, etc. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is that so far, and I think I'm going to break some hearts here, so far this is all only available in Portuguese, but we are looking to bring it to other languages, other countries. So if you hear all of this and you're interested in bringing it to your environment, your country, your language, by all means, reach out. We want to do that. We want partners to help us do that and have all the mutual benefits from doing so. So if you're interested, we would love to talk. And if not, but you're also like invested in everything that I said due to my incredible charisma. No, I wish I had the self-confidence, everyone. I wish this was actually me. If you're just invested and want to help out, you can just leave feedback for us. That's very, very appreciated. We have an email, Escola de Gente @escoladegente.org.br. I know there's people from the organization that are watching us right now, so friends over in Brazil, if you can post it on the live stream, the email, that would be grand. And for those of you in person, I have like little cards, we all do, that we can like give you, and it has the email written. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Gabriel.
Oh, thank you, Alan. I would like to thank you all for being here today. But from this point on, I will read my notes so that I don't forget anyone, okay? I would also like to thank the Fundo Nacional de Cultura, Funarte, Ministério da Cultura for making our presence here possible. Finally, I would like to thank our current sponsor of VEM CA, Itaú, Vale, Genoa Capital, Supergasbras, Wilson Sons, and Technique FMC. I think that's enough for me, Claudia. Thank you too.
Thank you, Gabriel, and thank you, Alan. And I would like to thank Zero Project Conference for this new opportunity. And I'd like to thank you for coming here to listen to you. Thank you.